Alright, today I am going to give you guys a detailed look at this Marvel's Rescue from Avengers Endgame by Figuarts. I don't know why they call it Marvel's Rescue. Can they just call it Pepper Potts Rescue Suit or something? It's kind of weird. But whatever, it is by SHF. I've noticed their boxes are kind of cheap now. The paper is so thin, almost, it's barely cardboard-like. So there's the box, and again, it's another figure from the Endgame line, and there's the seal. There's a little hologram, SHF hologram, to know that it is authentic. And here's the back of the box. It shows a couple of pictures of the suit and Pepper Potts head sculpt. Alright, so here's everything you get from this figure. So quite a few items, so let's get started. First we have the backpack that's opened up with the flaps, and then we have an attachment piece. It's translucent attachment piece for these attachments right here. And then we have the figure with the Pepper Pot head sculpt, and then we have the helmet, and then some effect pieces, and a bunch of hands, and that's it. So that's everything from this figure. Alright, so let's start off with the Gwyneth Paltrow head sculpt. Can't say it's the greatest looking head sculpt. It's decent. I mean, you can kind of tell who that is, but it's not absolutely amazing. Because I've seen some really good ones from SHF before, but this one is definitely not one of those. And with the way the hair is sculpted, he basically have no movement with his head whatsoever. So for the rest of this video, I'm just gonna use the helmet with the head instead. So this is what it looks like. And there's the rest of her. And this one does not have any die-cast pieces, because with all the other Iron Man, their feet are usually die-cast, but this one is not. So there's no die-cast pieces. This one whatsoever. Here's the backside. It says Rescue 0049. And as far as articulation, let's see, head. It's kind of tight, but you could look up to about that much. Then down, about that much. And the shoulder pads, they are on a hinge joint right here. And it does get in the way sometimes. So when you're moving the arm, make sure you're a little careful how you're moving it. There you go. Okay, so when you're moving the arm, just gotta be careful how you're moving this, otherwise the shoulder pad's gonna pop right off. Then there's a little bicep swivel right there. So there is a bicep swivel with this guy. Okay, pretty cool. And ball hinge shoulders, and then it's pegged into the chest with the ball joint. And then there are double jointed elbows, so look at how far she bent all the way around. And then the wrists are on ball hinge joint, but it is very limited range of motion because of this covering for the arm here. It limits the articulation tremendously. So she cannot do a repulsor blast with this gauntlet here, with this piece here. And then as for the chest, it is on a ball joint, but again, the way they cut this, super tight, so it barely has any movement around the chest. And the waist is a little bit better, but still not a whole lot. And then the legs, I believe you could lower these legs here. Just gotta be super careful. See, it's lowered about that much, so she cannot do a landing pose, which is kind of disappointing because in the film she did the landing pose. It's like the pose, so yeah. Knees could bend about that much, and then ankles on ball joints. So yeah, but there's no flap that sits in front of the shin here. So sometimes you do get the leg to move. If you aren't watching, the legs go all the way up front here like that. And then it's kind of strange, but if you want a little more range of motion, make sure your foot is sit back to the right spot before you bend it. And there's a little bit of toes articulation right there. And the back, this piece is removable. Now once you remove that, you could add the attachments on her back side here, which I'll show you guys now. Alright, so here are these panels. There's a translucent piece right here, and then there are two options here. First, you could put on these humongous effect piece to the front of this to simulate the shot when you first see the rescue suit, when she starts to attack people. She gives out this firing effect initially, and then after that she starts spinning around with the Iron Man Mark 85. You can see these flaps went to the back side. So initially she was shooting them like this with her hands like to the side. So she was shooting these, and then with that one single blast, and then after that this piece basically have to remove it from this joint system here, and then you should replace it with the other one, which is this one. It's kind of hard to see because it is translucent, so peg that in to the back side, then peg this piece also to the back side, and then you attach the two firing effect pieces here, and then you attach this piece. So you attach that piece to the backpack right here, this, and then you attach the whole thing to the back of Pepper Potts here. So it's supposed to sit like this. Oh, it's a little crooked. Let me readjust it so it doesn't look crooked. Okay, so something like that. Should sit something like that. So from the side, from the front, the other side. So in the film, you would see it like this. I think it was like this angle right here, shooting someone towards the back there, and then, yeah. So this is how it's supposed to look. And honestly, I didn't even think it was going to look like this. Initially, I thought, it went by so quickly in the film. I thought these panels, so it's like right back here, not over the head here, but it's pretty close to where they're supposed to. I think in the film it sits a little lower, but it's also spread out a little bit more too. These are kind of tight together. I think in the film it was a little bit further apart, and then these were sitting a little lower, but from SHF, here's how they look. Pretty cool. Yeah. Alright, and here's a comparison with the two figures. We have Pepper Potts rescue suit right here. She stands about 5.75 inches in height, and Iron Man next to him is about 6 inches. So yeah, there it is. Hopefully I've been calling her a she this whole video, but I just realized I started calling her a she at the moment, so I don't know what I've been calling her initially. But yeah, pretty cool looking. Is it worth getting? I don't know. Articulation wise, I'm a little disappointed with it. Granted that this is a female body, so everything's supposed to be nice and smooth and curvy and all that stuff, but the shoulder pads are a bit of a issue, and then the chest articulation is basically, there isn't any because the way it's sculpted, and then the legs without the ball jointed thighs, because with these Iron Man, they have ball jointed thigh in a separate section, which allows them to do landing pose quite nicely, but this one doesn't, and it's kind of limited as to how far she could go as far as range of motion. And then ankles are without die cast pieces, so because these are somewhat reinforced in a way, because the way they did it, it's not ball joint. There are a couple of hinges, and then there's a pivot left and right, and it's very stiff, so I like these. But this one, basically they just used a ball joint, and that was it. And I was kind of disappointed about that. So as far as value wise, no, I don't think it's worth it. If you really need a rescue suit armor, maybe get the Legends, because that one's way more affordable. But this one, the paint job is definitely nicer. I would imagine this is much better than the Hasbro one. The plastic does feel very solid because it is all hard plastic, unlike Legends where they use a softer type of plastic. So I always not a fan of those, especially on a female figure, because the plastic are thinner, and so she would feel even softer, I believe. And the lines are always super clean when it comes to SHF, so I'm happy about that. And overall, I didn't see any paint bleeds or anything like that, so I'm happy with it. And all the seam lines are done nicely, so there aren't like weird seam lines everywhere. Oh, and then another thing is that the head sculpt, the neck joint, the head ball joint section, it is quite limited. The whole of the helmet, they cut it so tightly that it limits its movement. It limits her movement quite a bit. So this is as far left or right that she could look. So she cannot turn her head all the way 90 degrees. It's not possible. And then as for the repulsor blast pose, you have to cheat in order to get it like this. Basically, you have to throw the arm all the way outward because of that forearm guard thing. It's stiff and it's not movable, so you're gonna have to twist it all the way to the bottom for her hand to be able to raise and give a repulsor blast type of pose. So yeah, those are some of the issues I have with this figure. But overall, I'm still happy to have this in my collection, because it actually fills my collection of Endgame characters. Yeah, so but $90, if you're just getting a rescue suit, I say go for the Legends. So there you go. There's the SHF rescue suit from Avengers Endgame. Thanks for watching.